Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're going to take a look at the new Thermalright Royal Knight 120. I want to say Rocket Knight all the time when I say that, so if I do say it, my apologies. It is the Royal Knight 120, not the SE version. Now, there are a few videos around on YouTube already of this, the SE version, but not this particular version for some bizarre reason, and I don't understand why, because out of the two, you should definitely not buy the SE version. For the standard 120 version, it's about £2 or £3 more expensive, but it has better looks, also it has better fans, and therefore better cooling. So it's kind of pointless buying the SE version, but it is a little bit on the quieter side. So depending on which you want, the SE version essentially is kind of like what I refer to as a kind of like a sound edition. So it's like less sound, it makes less noise. That's how I remember it anyway. So in the fans, they're actually lower RPM fans. So on the SE version, the front one is like 1,500 RPM and the middle one is like about 1,800. Whereas this version, the Royal Knight 120, has uprated fans. So the front fan is 1,900 RPM and the one in the middle is slightly thicker, 28mm fan rather than a 25mm fan. And it's also considerably faster, so RPM up to around about 2,200 RPM. So there is actually a difference between the Royal Knight 120 and the SE edition, and I would strongly suggest going with this version, unless for some bizarre reason you just want less cooling and you want it to be a little bit quieter. Obviously with this you can just reduce the fan RPMs, so it kind of is a no-brainer to go with this one, I think personally. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section. Now you're probably thinking, well, Mike, you've got all this far into the video, but you've got this Noctua cooler on the desk as well. Now the reason is because my system, which I've just recently rebuilt, my video editing system, has a Ryzen 7 7700X in it, and this is the cooler that I've been using as a temporary stopgap until this one arrived. And I thought it would be a very good comparison to see how a cooler will compare against this. So the NHU12S in the UK is retailing for somewhere in the region of about £55 to £60, whereas this is somewhere in the region of about 25 to 30, generally about 26 I found on Amazon.co.uk. I'll put some links in the video description so you can check out local pricing. But I think for basically half the price, surely there's something wrong with it, but it doesn't appear that way. It's actually very good, very quiet, very easy to install. We've actually done a separate installation video for those of you with AM4 or AM5 platforms. Again, I'll link that in the video description. It's very similar to most of the Thermalright installation methods with those kind of horseshoe brackets. Yeah, it's very straightforward, all color coded, etc. Very, very easy to do. So yeah, it's very hard not to recommend it. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's take a closer look at the cooler and see what we actually get inside the box. So this is the packaging. As you can see, this is the Royal Knight 120, and it gives you an idea of what it's all about. Essentially, the biggest difference, like I said, is the two fans, and also you've got top plates. So on the SE version, you basically have kind of like the heat pipe showing, which I think is a little bit ugly, but if you don't care, then obviously you can save the money that way. It has got 6 heat pipes on the bottom, also support for Ryzen and Intel processors up to the latest and greatest LGA 1851 at the time of recording, and also AM5 as we've already said. On the side of the box, it goes about the Gen 5 heat pipe technology, easy install, and the offset heatsink. Now the offset heatsink is one of the things which actually makes this stand out from pretty much all of the rest of the Thermalright range. I get really, really upset when I install a cooler. I find that the fan on the front is overhanging the RAM, or covers the RAM. Now if you've spent a lot of money on your RAM, or you've got RGB RAM and you just want to see the RGB, installing a cooler and then having to cover it all up really seems counterintuitive to me. And also for those of you that are rocking slightly smaller cases, generally you have to kind of raise the front fan up a few centimeters just to get it to clear your RAM, which then could potentially make it so you can't actually close your case, in which case you'll end up taking the front fan off and just going with the middle one. Again, not an ideal look. You want it to look nice as the manufacturer intended and with kind of limited intrusions. So I think this is where this one actually does do fantastically well. The front pipes are swooped back so much so that there's absolute fantastic clearance. It does come with a 15mm fan on the front, so that is reducing the normal fan width by about 10mm. So again, massive air clearance there. But it does actually include in the box an extra set of brackets. So if you want to swap out the 15mm for a 25mm, you can do. The brackets are included. Obviously, you're going to have to check with your system and your RAM just to measure it, make sure you've got enough clearance there. But I do think even with a 25mm fan on here, in most cases, if you're just running 2 sticks of RAM, so in slots A2 and B2, you should be absolutely fine and still have clearance. It'll be close, but you still will have clearance. So if you do want to have your 25mm fans on there, then you certainly can do. And obviously if you want to swap these out for RGB ones, because there is no RGB on this, so if you do like that kind of stealthy look, then maybe this is an option for you. Again, at the price, I think for around about 26 to 28 pounds in the UK, this is absolutely cracking value for money. It's extremely easy to install, as I've already said. Comes with all the fittings, even comes with some TR7 or TF7 thermal paste from Thermalright, which is actually pretty decent thermal paste. And like I said already, it comes with those uprated fans over the SE version. So the middle fan is a little bit thicker, so 28mm rather than 25mm, and that's up to kind of 2200 RPM rotational speed. And the front one, even though it's a slimline 15mm, still spins up to 1900 RPM, which is great. So it moves an absolute ton of air and has got a lot of air pressure behind it. But you're probably thinking again, well, yeah, that's great, Mike, but how does it actually perform? So let's take a look at some graphs and we'll take a closer look. So this is going to be all very basic stuff. I've literally just run the system, daytime temperature, so 23 degrees C here in the Mike's Unboxing studio. And I've just done a 5-minute Cinebench loop, which is more than enough to get an air cooler up to kind of equilibrium. So let's take a look at some of those numbers. So looking at the Ryzen 7 7700, again 5-minute stress test. With the Noctua, we got a highest recorded temperature of 95.6, where we're in thermal throttling territory. And with the Royal Knight 120, we got a maximum of 93.1. Now this is with XMP enabled, nothing reduced, so this is basically balls to the wall. It will try and reach 95 degrees all day long, which it certainly seems to be getting that way. The lowest recorded temperatures, which for some of you, if you enjoy a little bit of silence because you want your PC to be quiet, then the Noctua got down to 41.3 degrees C, and the Royal Knight got down to 35.6, which is actually quite a significant difference. A little bit of a better difference there on the lower temperatures, so a little bit more of a gap between them. Obviously, when it got to the higher temperatures and the load, obviously we got to the 95.6, we got to the thermal throttling range, so the system isn't going to try and push much further. I think if those limits were kind of removed or were taken off altogether, it would probably got to 100 degrees pretty quickly, I think. But anyway, so definitely a better result, albeit only by a few degrees. So does that mean anything for Cinebench tests? So the Cinebench results, as you can see on the screen, we've got with our Noctua cooler, the NHU12S, got 19,444 points. And when we used the Royal Knight 120, again, 23 degree temp room, 5-minute loop, we got 19,800 points, give or take 1 point. So that is actually a pretty significant difference. Around about 400 points is normally the sort of difference between having something like OneDrive plowing away in the background, or a couple of apps open, maybe a couple of browsers, a few tabs. So it's actually a significant difference, I think, definitely more than margin of error. Basically, if you get around about 100 points difference, 50 points difference, maybe 200 points difference, that's kind of almost margin of error territory, depending on Windows processes in the background. But this, I think, is a definite step in the right direction, around about 400 plus points. So yeah, that is a decent chunk in my opinion. And also, while doing it, it remained very quiet. The fans on this, actually, even though they are faster RPM, they are well tuned and does seem to be very low noise. The noise from it is less of a kind of a whine from the fans, is more of a whoosh going through the fin stack, which is unavoidable, unfortunately, because you have to have one or the other. You have to have air going through to make it cool. Yeah, it just does a very good job. For me personally, I think this is probably one of the best coolers on the market in terms of dual tower coolers, especially because you've got that really great RAM clearance on there, very easy installation, and of course, being Thermalright, it's at an absolutely fantastic price. For under 30 quid, this is pretty much unbeatable if you do want to squeeze that little bit extra out of your X processors. For those of you that are running processors which are around about 65 watt CPUs rather than the kind of 95, 105, etc., this was actually running somewhere around about 140, 144 watts whilst in test. So if you've got a CPU which only kind of goes up to 80 or 90 watts, then this is going to be absolutely great, and you're definitely going to be in the kind of, maybe in the 60 degree range, maybe in the 70s, depending on your ambient temperatures, but it's going to keep your stuff really nice and cool. And again, very easy to install. It looks great, even though it hasn't got RGB, which I thought I wasn't going to like it, but it does actually seem to reflect some of the RGB from the RAM on the blades, which for me is more than enough. Anyway, I've waffled on for way too long. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully you'll take a look at the Royal Knight 120, because I seriously think it's well worth looking at, especially if you're looking at a dual tower cooler and you don't want to spend an absolute ton of money. This is a fantastic choice. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap this one up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.